Hey cousin, welcome back. Today is Tuesday and back to cleaning my garage. So last time I talked about wanting to get back into salt therapy because my asthma has been so bad. Well, I've gone to salt therapy 2 times now. I got a 10 punch pass and my goal is to go 2 times a week until I move because it's just expensive. And then once I move, I'll probably go hopefully at least 3 times a week because they have a membership and it'll be cheaper to go 3 times a week or even 4 times a week. My friend came over this past Monday to pick up a bunch of stuff and she ended up coming into my house because I had some stuff for her to look through. And I mentioned that I was thinking about giving away my treadmill and my juicer. And she's like, oh, well, if I was like, would you take them if I don't want them? And she's like, of course, if you don't want them, but you should really keep your treadmill. And so I decided that I will keep the treadmill because I can see myself using that in the future. But after this last, I think 2 weeks ago or whatnot, I tried doing juice and I just felt so dehydrated. I'm not going back to that. I just don't see myself making juice in the future or anywhere near in the future. Maybe if I got sick in the future and I got cancer and I decided to do the Gerson therapy, fine, I would get a new juicer, but I would get a higher end juicer. I also feel bad keeping things that just clutter up my space. And when I move, I don't want to be like, why didn't I give this away when I was in Minnesota? It would have been so easy to give away in Minnesota. Why did I bring this with me? Because I just don't see myself making juice to the extent of it really being worth it to bring with me. And then for those of you who are new here, I am packing my car full of everything I want to bring with me and only bringing what can fit in my car. So I have limited space. I just don't see the point of bringing the juicer with me when I can just leave it here. I decided to keep my treadmill because I had a 10,000 step goal that I wanted to hit. I have not been on the treadmill in a while, but I do want to get back into that. And it does get really hot in Texas. So if I'm stuck inside and I can't really go anywhere, it would just be nice to have that treadmill so I'll have something to do. This brings me back to another point too. So I've gained some weight since I went back to eating warm cooked meals. I've been doing that regularly every day for dinner. I'll have a warm cooked meal. And I just noticed, obviously, there is weight gain. And I mean, that always happens, but just another reason to get back into walking 10,000 steps a day so I can keep that weight off or just at least stay consistent. And then, I love rock climbing. I really want to get back into rock climbing. There's a gym in Texas that I want to join. There's also a meetup group where they meet up at different rock climbing gyms. So hopefully I can find a rock climbing partner. I think if I'm walking 10,000 steps a day every single morning or evening or whenever I choose, going rock climbing 2 to 3 times a week, and then going to the regular gym 3 times a week, I could easily keep that weight off and get back to being like physically fit because I want to get toned. That was my goal for a while. Just didn't happen. Things came up. Life happens. I have felt very stressed out, and I thought it was because of moving and having these 4 boxes of stuff that my mother gave me in my house. And then I had to end a friendship, and I realized that it was the friendship causing me stress. I still haven't even gotten that far in getting those 4 boxes out of my house. I just stopped working on it, but I noticed it's not stressing me out. So I've noticed this pattern in my life where 2 times now I have befriended people claiming to be raw vegan. And the term raw vegan really means you are on a raw food diet and you are vegan for the animals. But really, what people really mean when they say that is they're on a raw food plant-based diet. They're not actually vegan. 2 times now I've been friends with these people and it turns out they're not actually vegan. I had a goal where I only want to be friends with vegans, but then when I find out these people aren't vegan, I would keep being friends with them. And at some point, the relationship ends up breaking down. I'm gonna take blame for this too, because this is a part of a me issue too, where I have a really hard time setting boundaries. And because I let the friendship get to a point where I just felt super uncomfortable that I felt like I have to end this friendship now, instead of like, actually, you know what? I actually did set boundaries for both of these people, and they didn't really, it just didn't go the way that I would have wanted to go for me to keep the relationship going, and it stressed me out at that point, and I just had to end those friendships. But The first one that I ended, I felt so much better when I ended that one. And then the second one, I felt like this weight lifted off my shoulders after I ended that friendship. And I'm like, that's exactly what I needed to do. And then this also brings me back to why I have 3 videos coming out this week. I felt so much less stressed that I was able to make 2 videos on a Sunday. I edited them the same day and then uploaded them. And then this week, I'm like, all I need to focus on is this video, my weekly video, where I focus on giving updates and cleaning my garage. I will edit this after I'm done going through my garage and whatnot, and then upload it for Thursday. Before, it felt like pulling teeth trying to get myself to even start the Breaking Free series because I was just so stressed out. And then I really realized the stress is coming from this friendship. I need to end it, and I did. I feel so much better. And then also pairing that with going to salt therapy 2 times a week for my asthma. But you know, it keeps snowing here. 3 times now, I thought the snow was done. We weren't getting any more. It would snow. It would melt. A couple weeks later, snow again, melt again, and then again. And I think that's also messing with my asthma. But being stressed out also does not help my asthma. It's better for me to just not be stressed for my health, mentally and physically. Oh yeah, so back to friendships. I'm only gonna be friends with people who are vegan. If someone claims they're raw vegan, I'm gonna assume that they're not vegan. Because I just think if people are really serious and they're educated enough to know about veganism, why would they lead with, I'm raw vegan? And I've done that in the past too, so I made that mistake as well, but I don't see myself claiming to be raw vegan anymore as best as I can because I feel like there's just so many people lying about being vegan by claiming they are raw vegan, and I don't want to add to that. I'm just gonna say I'm vegan, I'm on a plant-based diet. Every single person who is vegan is on a plant-based diet. Not every single person on a plant-based diet is vegan. And you know, that's the difference. Veganism is a movement about the animals to help the animals. It has nothing to do with diet. So I think as soon as someone brings up, oh, I'm on a vegan diet, it's like, you know, they're not actually vegan, right? Because there is no such thing as a vegan diet. It's a plant-based diet. Oh, I also want to bring up too, that friend was actually Christian as well. And we talked a lot about food. And I think this also stressed me out. I didn't notice at the time though, because at the time I liked talking about food. That was the only person I could truly talk about a raw food plant-based diet with. And so I thought that I was enjoying it. I did enjoy it at that time. But after that friendship ended, I realized I feel like I was obsessing about food to the point where I didn't feel comfortable eating cooked food and I would feel guilty. And then yeah, once that friendship ended, I felt so much better about eating cooked meals because I didn't feel judged. She wasn't judging me, but the fact of it is when you're in a raw food group, people talk about how cooked food is toxic, and I have done this too. I'm sure other people have felt uncomfortable with it too. But let's say, for instance, you drink coffee. Let's say you like to drink coffee. You don't have any addictions with coffee. You like drinking coffee. And then you have a friend coming around. They used to be addicted to coffee. And every time they're around you, they talk about how toxic coffee is. Coffee is so bad for you. It's gonna hurt your body mentally, physically. It's horrible for you. Let's say they talk about the caffeine in it. The caffeine is bad for you. At some point in time, it's gonna get old. You know, even if you were for that at one point, you were okay with, okay, we're against coffee. Now you're back to having it. It's gonna feel really uncomfortable when that person is constantly talking about how toxic coffee is. You don't wanna hear about it anymore. And maybe in the time, you don't know that that's affecting you, but when you get away from that person, you end that friendship, you're like, oh, that was stressing me out. And you could put that with anything, alcohol too. Let's say somebody's addicted to alcohol, but you're not. And you like having an alcoholic drink a couple times a week. And every time they're around you, they talk about how toxic alcohol is. It's gonna get old where you're gonna feel like, I don't really want to hang out with this person anymore because they keep talking about this thing, but I'm okay with drinking alcohol, you know? FYI, I don't drink coffee, I don't drink alcohol. Just don't like the taste of either. Smell is kind of weird to me too, just not my thing. I also changed my name on YouTube to Nora, and then I changed the last name spelling with a K instead of a C Nora Cobalt. The reason is my real name is Ilona. I love my name. I do. What I don't like is all the people who are butchering my name. And then if I don't correct the people, they get upset with me, even though I don't really feel like it's my job to constantly correct people. So it puts me in a really uncomfortable position. And you know, I want to go travel to Hungary at some point. They're going to say my name correctly, and that's great. But I can't expect anybody else to say my name correctly, so I'm just gonna go by Nora from now on. Also, too, I feel like it would be hard for my audience, for you guys to connect with me if you don't even know how to say my name, right? Depending on the font, and most of the time they pick the worst font because it's an I and a L, but you can't really tell that if you're not really aware of how they look next to each other. So even being able to spell my name would be hard. Saying my name, you'd be like, how am I supposed to say that? I will be moving to Texas where nobody knows me. I will actually probably introduce myself as Nora. That way, there's no arguments about how to say my name. I can just introduce myself and be done with it. And nobody's gonna butcher my name. Problem solved, right? I was doing a lot of building my family tree a while ago. I haven't done that in a while, but I noticed a lot of my family members who came over from Hungary, they changed their names to American names, like Istvan turned to Steven or Stefan. What else? I can't think of anyone else. That's the one of the most popular names, though, that is Hungarian, that turns into Steven. I have a Facebook friend. His name is Istvan, and he put in parentheses Steven, because, you know, people probably can't say his name correctly. It's probably just easier for them to Americanize it. And I'm not trying to take away from myself at all. I just don't like that people keep butchering my name. It's so frustrating. To be honest, it is just so frustrating. Oh, I haven't signed a lease yet, but I did. So I found this place that I really liked. I liked the pictures, I liked the reviews, the whole place looked nice. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna rent from this place. And then I didn't really like the cost. It was $1,100 when I first found out about it. And then I looked back a month later and they raised it $100. And I'm just like, this current place that I stay at, it's like over $1,700. I don't want to only save about $500 just from moving. I'd rather save more. So I found another place pretty close to that one that was the same, owned by the same company, but a little bit cheaper because they had studio apartments. And that was a little more than $1,000 and that looked good. So I figured, okay, I'll go for that place instead. I called that place and I asked how far in advance could I apply for a place, and they said that they could only hold a place for 30 days. And this was like last month. That just wouldn't have worked because I'm gonna move in a little less than 60 days. I don't wanna pay for an extra month of rent that I'm not actually going to be staying there. I just feel like that would be a waste of money. Even if it's like $1,000, it's still a waste. Then my other option I was thinking was, okay, well, furnished rooms, furnished something. There's a website called Furnished Something. Actually, let me look it up. Furnished Finders is what it's called. And it's typically used for traveling nurses where they can rent a room for months at a time or maybe even a year. And it could be a good deal because the place is fully furnished. But the issue with that is if I'm renting a room, I'm vegan. I don't really want to smell the animal product. But I figured if I could do that until I can get into the place that I'm going to sign the 12-month lease for, let's say, because I could only get in at the end of July, then that's what I was gonna do. Then I started to look at alternatives. Maybe I could find a studio apartment that would let me rent sooner that would be a little bit cheaper, because I didn't really like the $1,000 price either, to be honest. I wanted to go a little bit cheaper, and I found a place that was a little bit cheaper. I called them yesterday to ask them a bunch of questions, and they had 2 units available. And the woman, oh my gosh, the woman I talked to was so nice. The other places, they're just like, what kind of questions do you have? They answer my questions and then that was it. But this other woman I talked to, she's like, okay, let me get your first name, your last name, let me get some information from you. She gave me a bunch of information, like move-in information, utility information, how much utilities typically cost, how much garbage costs, water, how much trash costs, like all of that basic stuff, just so I'd have like a good idea of how much money I would be paying up front every single month. Again, the other places didn't do this for me. So I got like a really good vibe from this woman. I'm thinking, this is great. Like nobody has like sat down and given me this information. I got off of the phone with her and my credit score had dropped just a little bit below 650. It was at 643. I have a lot of credit card debt. I've been trying to pay it back. I paid a huge chunk back. You know, they will lower your credit score so fast and they are so slow to raise it back up. So the first two places I was looking at, I would need at least a 650 credit score. So I was waiting for my credit score to go back up, which it would end up going back up at the end of the month because that's just when they process that information. But this new place that I called yesterday, they said that they accepted someone with like a 560 credit score. So I was like, oh, okay, well, a little below 650 wouldn't be too bad then. I got an email from the woman this morning and she said that the unit that she talked about me with yesterday was actually leased to someone else yesterday. Like someone put in an application and got it. So this morning I just decided, well, I'm just going to apply for this place and hope I get it. Again, I'm just below 650. I would think I would get it, but like you just never know, right? I applied, I was approved. I'm so excited. So I still have to sign the lease, but I'm planning my move-in date to be one day after I leave here. I have a friend that's might be able to drive down with me and we can get there within a day and that would be really nice. So yeah, I'm feeling super excited about that. And again, a little more of a push to get more stuff out of my house. I still haven't gotten rid of everything, but yeah, I am so much more closer to moving. I'm less than 60 days away from leaving because today is the 7th, I think? No, it's the 8th. You know, why is that? I have a calendar in front of me all day and I can't remember what date it is, but today is the 8th. My move out date here is the 6th, although I might make it one day sooner depending on what day we leave. And then the move-in date is the next day. So yeah, I am very excited. I don't have anything else to report at this time, but so I will see you next time.